The Olympic and Paralympic Games are some of the most influential sporting events in modern society, a time when athletes from across the world come together to showcase their abilities on the global stage. With such a large-scale event, billions of people tune in to watch, and media channels across the world cover the games extensively. While these games are a celebration of human ability, athleticism, and perseverance, there are often deeper narratives at play within the media coverage. This leads to the question, was there a gender, race and ethnicity, or disability agenda during the Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games given in the YouTube channels? Welcome back to episode 2 of the podcast. So, did these narratives exist? Well, to answer that, we need to examine both historical context and data from the most recent Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games. So in terms of gender representation in sports has been a long debated issue, with concerns about the media bias and unequal treatment of male and female athletes. The International Olympic Committee, or IOC, has taken strides to improve the gender equality in recent games, aiming for a 50-50 gender split for the Paris 2024 Games. However, media narratives may still reveal underlying bias. Billings and Brown did a study in 2013 suggesting that media coverage often portrays female athletes differently from their male counterparts. In the data from the Paris Games, we can see the most viewed videos on NBC and Eurosport have a clear gender imbalance. For instance, NBC's top 10 most viewed videos predominantly feature male athletes, reinforcing the notion that men's events continue to receive greater media attention. Meanwhile, Channel 4's Paralympic coverage offers more diverse representation, with female Paralympics appearing more prominently in the highlight reels and feature stories. This aligns with Vincent and Kian's study done in 2014, with the observation that media can sometimes sensationalize certain groups to gain public attention, but in this case, it worked positively to give female athletes greater visibility. An interesting example comes from the viral success of the Turkish female archer's silver medal to win the Paris Games. Despite archery being a lesser followed sport, her emotional reaction and powerful backstory became one of the top 5 most watched videos across multiple media platforms, demonstrating that compelling narratives can break gender biases when presented effectively. Now, when it comes to race and ethnicity representation, the representation of race and ethnicity in Olympic and Paralympic coverage is another area of concern. As McGuire in 2006 suggests, globalization has helped sports transcend national and cultural boundaries, but certain groups may still face biased portrayals. In the Paris 2024 data, Channel 4's Paralympic coverage featured a British wheelchair racer from an ethnic minority background prominently in their content. The athlete's inspiring story was framed as a triumph for inclusivity in the sport. This aligns with Billings et al.'s study done in 2013, who found that Olympic coverage often emphasizes national pride, which can sometimes unintentionally marginalize athletes from minority backgrounds. In contrast, NBC's top 10 videos included a high-profile race where a US sprinter celebrated a silver medal win. The framing of this moment, despite the gold medalist being from another country, reinforces Vincent and Kian's 2014 study claimed that media outlets may favor nationalistic narratives over broader representations. Now, when it comes to disability representation, the Paralympic Games have made significant strides in raising awareness for athletes with disabilities. However, the narrative surrounding these athletes often leans heavily on themes on inspiration rather than sporting excellence. A study done by Bordeaux in 1996 argues that media channels can manipulate narratives to focus more on the emotional aspects rather than the athletic achievements of disabled athletes. For example, Channel 4's coverage of the Paralympics included a widely viewed feature celebrating the first deaf interpreter in Paralympic history. While this milestone was significant for accessibility, the video's framing leaned towards emotional storytelling rather than celebrating sporting achievements. This echoes findings by Lycan et al. In 2017, who suggest that media coverage of mega events is often used to enhance a host nation's public image rather than focus entirely on the competition itself. Interestingly, data from NBC's Olympic coverage demonstrated a clear imbalance in Paralympic visibility compared to the Olympic content. Only one Paralympic-related video appeared in NBC's top 10 most viewed videos, suggesting that Paralympic coverage continues to struggle for priority in mainstream media. So, was there an agenda during the Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games in the given YouTube channels? Well, based on the data and historical analysis, it's clear that narratives surrounding these issues were present to some extent. Female athletes continue to gain more recognition, though men's events still dominate the spotlight in many key media outlets. Racial representation showed mixed results, with some positive examples of inclusivity, but also signs of nationalistic bias in certain coverage. Lastly, disability representation is improving, but continue to face challenges in shifting away from purely emotional narratives to highlight athletic prowess. Ultimately, the media plays a crucial role in shaping how the audience engage with these powerful sporting moments. As viewers, we must be aware of the underlying narratives to fully appreciate the diverse stories that unfold at the Olympic and Paralympic Games.